I mean, you have kids. You have how many boys?
I have one boy and two daughters. Well, one son and two daughters.
Okay. I mean, you've talked about your fear of your kids dealing with police.
Sure. Sure. My son is 28. He has a learning disability. He has Asperger's syndrome. And he's physically fit. He's in Krav Maga. So imagine a child. Do you know that the fastest way to get killed by the police is if you're mentally disturbed or emotionally disturbed? So when somebody calls the police to deal with somebody who's acting erratic, they don't call because they want them killed. They want help. But they get killed instead. Now, I'm not saying that the onus is all on the police because they're not, I don't think they're given the tools they need. There shouldn't be all things to all people. But when I call you to help me with to help me with an erratic loved one, it shouldn't be at the end of a bullet. And I got a child, who is, on the higher end of the spectrum. But if he don't know your commands, or if he looks disobedient, he can die. And somebody says that's okay. No. So if you're mad at Colin Kaepernick but never looked at what he was championing, the cause he was mad at, then I think you're a hypocrite. If you're more mad at Colin Kaepernick for the stance he took, you're more mad at Colin Kaepernick than you are. If you're more mad at Kevin Durant for saying he wouldn't go see the president, you are the president for not going to Heather Heyer's funeral, then you're a fucking hypocrite.
Right. I guess the Warriors aren't going to the White House.
But why would they? I bet you what, a lot of niggas from Oakland ain't going to the White House either. It's just, it's so morally repugnant that the things that we allow, the things that we hold sacred, and the things that we pretend, we can't be a nation of laws and mores and norms and have one thing be considered aberrant behavior, but accept the other one.
I mean, have you yourself had situations with the police?
Who hasn't?
What was your worst situation?
The worst situation when I was 9 years old, the police came and they were looking for these Jews in my neighborhood, so they told us to put our hands on the car, and back then the engines ran hot, so I was like, it's hot. He said, I'm a 9-year-old boy. He said, if you take your hand off that, it was the Firestone Sheriff Department. He said, in Los Angeles, he said, if you take your hand off that hood one more time, I'm gonna blow your fucking head off. I'm a boy. I watched a kid named Chrissy, man. These cats used to always go back. The police was always fucking with us. So Chrissy is a kid. He tells me, he said, if you take that gun and that badge off, I'll beat the shit out of you. And that dude did it, and he beat the shit out of him. And to us, it was like the fucking Olympics. And 10 days later, he was dead in a dumpster. So I've watched them do what they do. I've watched and seen what happened to him.
So you think the police killed him in revenge?
No, I don't think the police killed him in revenge. Yes, of course I do. Of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course I do. Now, I can't prove it. Of course I do. I'm watching people get beaten and demoralized and dehumanized. Now, I watch a lot of people do bad shit. And what people say, well, it's black on black crime. That would mean that just because some other black guy did it, we're all the same. All of us are the same. Well, of course the police are scared. It's black on black crime. Black people commit crimes. That would imply that all of us are alike. If I said all white people are racist, that you wouldn't accept. What you're doing is saying it's okay to do these things to these people because somebody else that looked like them did it. Then why isn't the same true for you?
Well, you lobbied the EPA to declare black men as an endangered species.
I did. But now I've given that fight up.
You've given that up?
No, now I want black men to get the same protections as animals that's legal for you to kill. Like, I think if you get we should get the same protections as animals you can hunt. You can't kill, you can only bag so many a year, you can't kill the females, you can't kill the juveniles, you can't kill them next to their home, you can't bait them, you can't shoot them from a moving car, you can't do it on Sundays. And if you do something, if you break into those rules, it's hunters that turn you in. Wardens are, the people that they're the they care more about conserving people. If you hurt too many females, or you can't shoot too many females, or you shoot too many juveniles, you can get a fine. It's a penalty. You get in trouble for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at the argument of the police killing black men,
Sure.
and then people say, well, but look at all the black men who kill black men.
But those black men go to jail.
Right, right. And that's my point. If you had a videotape of two civilians choking one, choking the other, killing them, shooting them at point blank range, that gets shown to the jury, and it's pretty much an open and shut case.
That's you made a valid point, because prosecutions show tapes of potential suspects doing things all the time. That's enough to convict. But if you show a video of a cop doing something, we don't know what he did before, and we don't know what precipitated this, and we don't know what happened before. The tape is good enough. One gets a presumption of guilt, and one gets a presumption of innocence. I would submit that in America, there's never been a black man killed that society was so abhorred by that they changed things, that they were so angry about and so hurt by they changed things.
I mean, I would say Emmett Till.
No, nothing changed.
No?
No.
Nothing changed?
No. People are looking at the eclipse like today. It only happens, it's rare. It only happens once in a lifetime. If I want to see something that only happens once in a lifetime, I'll look at the conviction of a police officer for killing a black man. I'll look at justice. That's just as rare as an eclipse. I just, what the fuck I don't gotta look in the sky. I look in the courtroom.
Well, I mean, Emmett Till happened in a time where those type of images
You're a
weren't
journalist, so
really
you know Emmett Till.
circulated.
You're a journalist, so you know Emmett Till. I'm a black man, so I know Emmett Till. Most of society had no idea what you're talking about, so it could not have had the impact that you're espousing. It couldn't have.
Yeah. At the time, though, like this was the
Niggas
30s,
still died.
40s, something like that.
People still got killed. People still got lynched. People still. I wonder if we looked at Emmett Till and look from that time on to whenever people think we got reasonable. I wonder how many black people died in brutal ways that society wasn't abhorred by.
Yeah. Well, but I think
Castile
the
just
imagery
got
of it, I think, affected society on a level that it
I don't
hasn't
think it
before.
did.
Yeah, I mean, the fact when you look at that whole situation, the fact that his mother, considering the condition of her son, did an open casket funeral and allowed everyone to take pictures of that. I mean, like, you as a parent, can you just imagine that?
You know what's so funny? You bring up Emmett Till. Now let me ask you an honest question.
Okay.
America's history is rife with brutalized black bodies, with people being hung, burned, genitals cut off, and that didn't change them. So why would Emmett Till's picture make them feel any different? They used to have picnics while they burned, hung, cut the genitals off of black people, and they'd have picnics around them. People have pictures of that. So Emmett Till was the thing that finally went, oh, this is too far? No. I don't buy that argument.
Right, and ultimately, I believe in the trial, weren't they found not guilty or something like that? Like, it was...
The woman that just came out and said, of course, no.
Yeah. The woman said that it wasn't even true.
Listen, we watched Freddie Gray die. We watched Philando Castile die. We watched Alton Sterling die. We watched the man die in Oklahoma. So Emmett Till made people be so appalled by the level of violence that somebody's being visited with that they stop it.
Yeah, I feel you.
I just, maybe it's true, but I bet the empirical data would prove otherwise.
Right. I mean, because I don't think that when people look at what's been happening with Eric Garner and Philando Castile and so forth, like, that's been happening all the time. People just have cameras now.
Yeah.
Were you living in LA during the Rodney King riots?
Of course.
That happened, and it was so rare for someone to even have a video camera back then, much less having a video camera and to tape that actual incident.
People saw that tape, and the same brutalization they saw one man's brutalizer is another man's hero. So to your point, if our psyches have been indelibly changed by what happened to Emmett Till, black men being brutalized wouldn't be so commonplace and so accepted. Those dualities could not exist.
I mean, what do you think at this point could actually improve things?
I think that people got to do what the brochure says. I think that America, by and large, has never seen a black man die, and it was so upsetting that they decided that enough was enough. They've never seen it, and they need to. They tell me why it happens, or how they can understand how it happens, or maybe somebody else, or we don't know. When is this country going to get so appalled by a level of brutalization that they can no longer abide it?
Right, because if you look at, for example, like the Jean Benet situation,
Yeah.
right? This is like a little blonde girl who got killed, what, 10,
Yeah.
20
It
years
had to be
ago?
almost 20-some years ago, 25 years ago now, yeah.
Okay. People still care about that murder. Like, there's new documentaries coming out about that.
Sure.
You know, I remember, you know, me and Lord Jamar had an interview recently, and he was saying how when the OJ thing happened, people were so upset because Nicole Simpson was like the poster child for white beauty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If OJ had killed his black or Mexican wife, I don't think it would be that type of reaction.
Well, let's look at it. The average murder in this country at one point recently was 7 to 8 years. The average murder. When we just look at all the stories, virtually every crime in the United States of America, 2-1, with one or two exceptions, 2-1 black to white. White to black. More white people commit these crimes by 2-1 than black people do. So it can't be just about being afraid of crime. More white people kill police officers than black people do. More black people are killed by white people than white. Up until the 2010, more white gang members were existing in the United States of America than black men. But yet we comprise the majority of the people in jail. Us and the Latins do that. Now, how is that? 70-some% of the people arrested in this country, according to the Department of the U.S. Justice, are white. 78, almost 70-some% arrested in this country are white. So the vast majority are. So how is it that all of a sudden that we are the ones that you're afraid of? Who's more? How many times have you ever seen black men slay police officers and not be brought to account for it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember when Tupac shot those two white cops in the South, it changed the perception of Tupac, because that's never really happened before. And he got away with it. Remember that?
Yeah.
You know, like a black gangster rapper shot two white cops in Atlanta and walked away from it. That put Tupac on a different type of pedestal before, because now, okay, this guy's actually walking the walk. Mm-hmm. But in general, that never really happens.
No, I've never seen it happen. So I just think that and people get so angry about what they know is true. I'm like, you know what I'm saying is true. It just bothers you that somebody's saying it. I think that you can't tell me that you care. Even the people that say all lives matter, when you say something like that, then why weren't you angry that Philando Castile got killed in front of a little girl and this woman, and he had everything you needed, it was legal? You just turn your back to it. How many times can this keep happening before we get the point that you think this is the way things should be?
Yeah.
There are two things in society that never seem to get a lot of affection when a lot of sympathy. Great white sharks and young black males. Like if a shark attacks somebody, they'll round up all the other sharks and go, you know what? We're trying to find the right shark. Great sharks and young black males. You can do whatever you want to them. And even at least sharks get a week on Discovery Channel.